when we try to force a specific outcome, a result, whether it be performance or a solution or getting over a traumatic event or be an accident, having to step away from the sport, then coming back after an extended amount of time, there is a reason why it's not working, because we're typically only trying to function either out of survival mode, which is a teeny tiny part that activates in the back of the brain and it shuts most of your body down. So if you're just watching, if you're just tuning in or you're catching a replay and that just got your attention, like, wait, what? It's not your fault. The reason why it's been so hard is because you have not had full access to both hemispheres. And when the communication is interrupted from our body, starting at our feet, all the way up, that's what keeps us stuck. And we honestly think it's the horse's problem. How many of you thought before this week that you needed to go buy another horse? That you needed a fancier pedigree, or you needed a more expensive horse, or you needed to quit altogether because it just wasn't going to work out for you. So those of you who have been with us all week, what has been your favorite piece of information that Leanna shared this week? What has helped you the most? Sherry, if you'll read those comments to me. Or actually, Ty set it up so I can see right here on the screen.
All right.
He's back there going, finally.
They're getting their fingers warmed up. They were so
Okay.
intrigued with what you were saying that they're just getting started.
Yeah. What's your favorite part? What's helped you the most this week? Talk to me. I now have visual, so I can see your comments.
Awesome.
At least I think I do. Is everybody just quiet?
Everyone's quiet. It's
What?
Friday.
How many people are on this call?
We got a few people saying hi. There you go. Now
Hey,
you got a couple comments. Can you see them?
how to get a handle on my nerves, my nervous system. That's from Leanne Tucker. Leanne, I always love your horse work. Robin says, how to get a handle on my nerves. Good. What about the snowman, the jumper world, who was $80 at the last stop for him? I love this about making the most of our rider horse team to work together with one another. That's what Deborah said. Wendy Sands posted something in the Stall Hike group. If you have not watched her video that she posted, I think it was yesterday, might have been the day before, she's riding her big, pretty roan gelding through the middle of the pasture with no contact. So there are no reins in her hands. She's just got this big, like, powerhouse of a barrel horse walking low headed in attunement with the reins just comfortably on his neck, and you can see her body moving in fluidity with him. That's what attunement is all about, the new style of riding. Anybody else? What has helped y'all the most this week? Do y'all feel a sense of relief to find out it's not something wrong? There's not something wrong. It's not your fault. You're not weak. We're not broken. It just boils down to there's a disconnect somewhere in our central nervous system that's probably causing a disconnect or a disruption in our horse's central nervous system. And it's all about communication, because horses don't speak English, guys. They're just like us. They receive information through their body, and that's how they output communication as well. So we have some really amazing stories. Leanna Ray is back tonight. So Leanna, it's Friday. Let's kick back. Let's talk through this week. I want to start with Michelle Patton. This is going to be a really interesting story, being able to follow her journey when she first came into Stall High. Michelle, if you're here, go ahead and say hello, because I'm really excited to hear your update.
I don't see her yet, Kendra.
Okay, she's coming in. So let me know when she gets here. I don't want to tell too much of her story in the beginning. She's going to be another one of those riders that really validates our program and what's happening. So many riders come in skeptical at first, like, how much can I really benefit from a free clinic or from online learning. And everyone is pleasantly surprised. It's okay to be skeptical. It's not okay to be critical. When we have a critical mindset, Leanna, if you're here, I'd love to kind of start with this. We're we're locked from the get-go. Our body's typically not going to follow. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely, because all the things that are unprocessed emotions, unprocessed experiences get stored in our nervous system. And when that happens, depending on the state of our nervous system, it's gonna influence our movement patterns. And
Okay.
why and so those movement patterns contribute to our body schema, which is basically our body maps, right? And so old injuries, torn ligaments, they can leave behind damaged receptors at the site of that injury.
And you're
And
talking
why
about neurons. Is that
you
right?
get correct, mechanoreceptors are what begins to, that
Okay.
it communicates to the brain that this is where I'm located. So that's why
Mhm.
even after somebody has been rehabilitated or, through physical therapy and they come back and like their injury has healed, yeah, but sometimes the nervous system still protects that site, and there hasn't been a proper mapping back to the between the brain and the body to receive that part of the body back into the
Come on.
flow of information and communication, right? And so when we know that, if there's been injuries or there's been protective patterns, self-protection patterns that have had to be in the body for too long because we've been in our fight flight part of the nervous system or dorsal shutdown, we have to remap those areas. And those that remapping, just think of it as this: is we wouldn't travel a road if we had a blurry map, right? If the map wasn't very
Right.
clear, right? But that's what we're asking our brain and body to do, and the brain and the body's like, I'm trying, but this map is so blurry I can't see it. It'd be like me trying to read a map without my glasses. That'd be a mess.
Yes.
It would be
Yes.
slow. I would be uncoordinated. I would be timid, and then I'd get to be to the place where I'm fearful, and then I would start clenching, all because I'm trying to read from a blurry map, right? And so once you understand that, how we access that, how we remap the body schema,
Mhm.
is we remap it through the nervous system. And then we have to remap it through movement. But it's not just any movement, these are the quality of movements. It's like in attunement, we talk about the fundamental movement patterns. But the very first thing we have to
Yes.
do is we have to move the pelvis, because the pelvis has, oh boy, that connects our top to bottom, right? It is one of those things. It's the base of the spine, so it is very much responsible for. It's the hub of communication to the rest of the body, and then we have to work through the senses. So
Yes.
that might be a long answer. It's more of a story than it is an
It's
answer.
brilliant. It's brilliant. And I'm
But
personally working on my pelvis still because I just didn't know. I mean, and most of us, I'm learning because of society today and because we spend so much time sitting or sitting in a saddle, our pelvis, our fascia kind of starts to hold us in a unnatural position. And it's really hard to re-educate that and to retrain the fascia. So I am still working on like living always in that forward posture and re-educating my pelvis to work as it was designed so I can go with my horse. I have a question because this is part of my story and it's been very eye-opening to me. When I started realizing my posture was holding my horses back, when I'm coming to class every week and I'm listening to our stride coaches, Michael Richardson and Leanna Ray, and I'm learning how much when we lean forward, it puts an extra burden on our horse. It slows you down if you're a barrel racer. Here's some signs. Here's some things that I added together. Leanna, it just shocked me. I was leaning forward just to drive my truck. So how many of you do that? When you get in your little like Kubota side by side, you put it in gear. Do you lean forward when you take off, guys? When you get in your car, you get in your truck, do you lean forward when you hit the gas? There's your sign. I was leaning forward doing everything, unloading the dishwasher, putting forks and knives away, making my coffee, brushing my teeth, anything. Basically, I had shortened my abdominal muscles and I had stretched my glutes. Well, what happens over time? It gets worse and worse and worse. Well, whether you do it just because of society or whether you've been in a modern day barrel saddle that holds you like this, that is not a sustainable posture. And even though it may be your comfort zone, it sure isn't your horse's. So if you're having challenges with your horse, think about the state of your pelvis. Is your pelvis starting to, over time, year by year, get locked in that forward go zone? Leanna, when we're stuck on go, how is that putting an extra burden on our horse? Because we may have some skeptics. Like, how is that slowing our horse down?
Oh, if we're stuck on go, then so do they. And right. And then they can be more what's what they call the front endy horses.
Mm-hmm.
You can make a connection between the horse's nervous system mirroring the rider's nervous system.
Is
And
anybody
so,
struggling? Does
yeah.
your horse
So,
have a problem with the front end? Does your horse not have rate and you're trying to find a perfect headgear for him and you got to set
yeah.
them just right? Is their central nervous system stuck? It's not their fault either. Leanna,
Mhm.
back to you.
Right. So yeah, so it's the horse's nervous system, their capacity to take a deep breath. Remember, their diaphragm is that bridge between their hind end and their front end. Um, because if we restrict our diaphragm, they can't access that diaphragm as well, right? And so, and is the quality of our movements in what I call flow state, or are we moving like a box, like really boxy? Because in fight flight, we have rigidity in our muscles, and then our muscles begin to communicate to our brain that something's not okay. And so then
Mhm.
yeah. And so then what happens is if I'm having to check for safety, like is everything okay? Then I'm actually not able to communicate as effectively and efficiently with my horse because that's a disruption. So the
Yes.
state of our
Or,
nervous system, right, will determine the story we say. So if we're in fight flight, if we're pushing that sympathetic edge there in our nervous system, we're going to be looking for what's wrong, what do I need to watch out for? Our field of vision begins to decrease, so our depth perception becomes compromised. There's a whole
Mhm.
slew of things. It's our proprioceptive system, it's our visual system, our vestibular system, our respiratory system. Those are the systems in our body that, when they aren't as attuned as they could be, begins to send signals of distress. And
Yes.
then that's up a domino effect, really. And then
But
we call that trigger stacking, right? And
that,
then at some point, I blow or the horse blows.
so that's the real reason why people get stuck. Like, they
Yeah,
think I need a faster horse. You probably don't.
right.
You can do what I did. Go spend more money, buy a more expensive horse. My problems didn't get better, they got worse. Until I changed, until I stopped doing what I was told to do with barrel racing from an early age. I had to step away from all the mainstream barrel racing and I had to find a new path and a new way of doing things. And not only that, now I'm finding a new way, a new style of riding, a new way to move my hips, my spine, and engage both sides of my brain so that my kinetic chain fires correctly. So I get quicker communication, more consistent communication with my horses. Is this helping anyone who's watching right now? Does this help you see even more clearly? We call it stall higher definition. What's going on? How many horses and riders do you see out there, not just barrel racing, but in the horse industry at large, who are struggling? I just don't know what's wrong with this horse. I just can't get this horse to get up the alley, turn the barrel. I can't remember what I'm supposed to do. Leanna just explained it. And once we kind of fall into that vicious pattern and we get stuck in fight flight, what coming out of it, y'all are teaching us how to come out of it in the classes, Leanna. It's like you say, it's the quality of the movement that matters. So I can get in this living room and I can do jumping jacks until I can't do any anymore. And that might help a little bit, but it is an actual remapping and a re-education of our posture and the way our muscles fire. You teach us about our different hemispheres and our different midlines and the horses. There has never been in the history of barrel racing, to my knowledge, and I will be 52 this year, has there ever been this level of understanding and coaching available? Do y'all agree with that? Have y'all ever have y'all ever listened to a neuroscientist other than Leanna Ray teaching on these things about hemispheres of the brain, midlines of the body, and how to attune your central nervous system.
And Kendra, Michelle just joined us.
Hey, Michelle, talk to us. I've been waiting for this day, girl.
Hey,
Can you?
sorry. I've been wanting to be here all week, but it's breeding season and I've been breeding mares at night when my husband
Yeah.
gets home.
Yeah.
So,
You got your hands full. So I was saying earlier, it just makes me so happy when professional horsemen and women like yourself come into our group. It's okay to be skeptical. And maybe you were. I'd kind of like to hear a little bit about that. What drew you here? But when you come in and you invest the time to listen and you have enough open mind to consider something new, things change. And for riders like yourself and myself, it's very unexpected. It's like a pleasant surprise. How's it going in your coursework? Tell us a little bit about your story. What brought you here? How's it going? What changes have you noticed?
well, what brought me here, like I've talked about in a bunch of the other challenges, is that I was to the point where I'm like, you need to stop. You need to quit. You can't do this anymore. You're not woofy enough. You're not tough enough. You can't win the mind over matter, coming back from major, I mean, I have a $300,000 leg, coming back from major injuries. I ride a couple horses that are a little difficult. And I was like, I just need to take up miniature golf or something. Forget this. Because no matter what I did, no matter what I tried, it was always the same result. Here, right before I started coming to Stall High, like when was it, in December, I made a couple runs and they were real pretty, but they were real super slow. So I was able to fix some of the issues I had about staying, more centered, and was working with a coach on body work on my body, because I have, they took part of my hamstring out to put it in my knee. So I have a deficit on the left side, and it showed. Well, then Shelly started telling me about Stall High, and I was like, yeah, whatever. I've been to
Yeah, right.
I've been to so many clinics. I was trying to count how many clinics I've been to in my life, and I've been to probably over 60 clinics since I
What?
was a teenager. Yeah, for real. Like every major barrel racer, I've been to their clinic. I mean,
60.
Ed Wright, John Lyons, Charmaine James, Dina Kirkpatrick, Ryan Levendahl, Marlene Edelman. I mean, I could go on and on. I probably, since I was 15, I've been to about 60 clinics. My mom and I were making a list a few months ago. And
And
so I
those are
have a
big names. Those are
big
very
names,
big names. And we're not
right?
taking anything away from anyone in the industry. They've all, earned their place in, barrel racing history. This is different, though. In what way, Michelle?
Well, I think now I haven't gotten very far in my coursework because the weather's been horrendous here. Like we've had 65-mile-an-hour winds. And then I had the flu for 2 weeks. As you can tell from my voice, I'm like, don't have much of a voice. I was sick. And then my hip, I finally got my hip injected
Mhm.
so that I could even get on a horse without my daughter or my husband physically put me on my horse. It was that bad.
Mm.
And so I haven't got to do a lot. What I've done is the first part, like the forward figure eights, and then the first drill where have us come in and do the arc and stop and back up.
Mhm.
But I've just worked and worked and worked on that. And I rode my crazy mare bareback.
And
Nobody who knows that mare for the last 12 years. No one. Like, okay, she's so weird that Ryan Levendahl wouldn't even ride her.
that's saying something because Ryan's a hand.
Well, Ryan will ride anything. I mean, he broke
I love him
Stingray.
dearly.
Yes,
Yes.
and he said, Michelle, I'm sorry, but I'm sending you outside to the round pen with Casey. And he said, I'm not getting on that mare.
Mm.
And, I did well at the clinic. I made a lot of progress, but she still is what she is. And she was so bad as a 3-year-old that she would buck over an upright barrel, like when you were leading her on a lead rope and she'd snap into you, she could go over the top of an upright barrel. I couldn't even find anyone to start her for me, and it was right after I had my real bad wreck. So I finally found a reining horse trainer that started her for me, and he put like all the safety tools. Like she tells you, I'm in a buck, and you have about
Yeah.
a half a second to remedy the situation. And you just have to pick up one hand and ride her in a circle, kind of
Yeah.
untrack her and ride her off. But the average person doesn't know that. I do. Like, so no one will ride her. I mean, my daughter and I are the only ones that ride her. And I rode that mare bareback in a halter.
There we go.
Um,
Now we're getting to the good stuff.
in a
So,
halter, and I was just doing the forward figure eights. I just went around my property, or like around 20 acres, and just went. And you know what? When I take her out on the trail or down the road, she's on the muscle. Her eyes are big. She's like snorts and blows and is just stupid. It's not fun to take her out on the trail at all. And so I just got on her bareback and I was like, I'm going to see what
yeah.
she's going to do. We had the best, amazing ride. We just tootled all around our property and through the trees. And I have never ridden that mare bareback before, ever.
So I want to stop you right there real quick. So are y'all connecting the dots? Leanna, talk to us. Explain, like this is a great example, right?
Wow.
And
Yes.
Michelle, and you
Yep.
mentioned like world-renowned riders. Okay. You yourself, like you work on horses, you understand the neurology and the biology of the horses because you do body work and equine dentistry and longtime barrel
Yes.
racer, lots of credentials and experience. Leanna, so many horses are being labeled as difficult. They're explosive, they're sensitive, they're hyper reactive. When we're really finding it is their central nervous system that's blocked. And Michelle
Yes.
kind of referenced something there everyone's going to start learning. If you haven't taken Attunement 101 yet, you're going to learn something we call the forward figure eight. And that's how we literally move our hips, our pelvis. Leanna,
Whew.
what is the horse trying to say? Why does our hip movement help
Mhm.
regulate their emotions and their behavior? Why does it work so fast?
Oh gosh, Michelle, that is such a powerful journey and story, and that is the one of the best examples that we could have showcased tonight for so many reasons. Um, oh gosh, where do I even start? Because it moves you. This work, when you do it in this way, it has an emotional impact on all of us, right?
Yes.
So I think about this horse being on the muscle, and if this horse would have been in anyone else's hands, it would have been more drills, more calming aids, whatever, more calming pace supplements, A, B, C, D, all the way through Z, right? And
Yeah.
the fact of the matter is that unless we are regulated, we cannot receive new learning and we cannot receive new information about who we are, where we are, and how I need to move. So you could be going to all those clinics and have all of this knowledge, but if you lay it on top of dysregulated nervous system, it's going to go to you know what, like it really is at the end of the day. And then it's going to make you question yourself. Am I not good enough? Do I need to quit? What's wrong? What's wrong with this horse? What's wrong with me? Because again, all of that, if there's not a regulated nervous system to receive that, then it can't be organized, it can't be embodied, it can't be actually
Mhm.
lived and moved and breathed with it. But the core piece about the pelvis is so important because again, that's the sacrum, that's the spine, that's the connecting point. My spine connecting into like a plug connecting into an outlet, that's the first major connection. Your seat, your
Mhm.
pelvis, your sacrum, your cerebral spinal fluid flowing freely up and down the spine so the spine can send messages throughout your body. The same way with the horse. And as I unlock my pelvis, all of a sudden the horse goes, whoo, man, energy is flowing again because we're connecting to different power zones of the horse. And I call them power zones, the particular places of the horse that whether however your background of learning and understanding, those zones are so important to help free up for the horse. And the way we free it up is through how we move.
Yes.
And that pelvis and those hips, if they are constrained and they are tight, right? It's again the communication. There are movement maps, our body schemas, they're off, right? And so it's good maps make for good movements.
Come on.
Is there a way, Kendra, to share a video of just this mare tied to the side of the trailer, and it will give you
Yes.
guys an idea?
If you can send it to us real quick, Ty can probably send it to Ty, Ty, at stallhide.com. And
Okay,
we'll see if he
I'm
can
on
throw
my
it on the screen
phone,
real quick.
so I'm trying to figure out how to do, like, not
Okay.
lose my Zoom. Oh, there.
Okay.
Okay.
You can come back to
And
it.
it'll give you guys a good idea. This is how that horse was all the time, and I've bought every supplement, calming paste, CBD oil. I used to even ace her before I went to the rope and
Mhm.
box because she likes to rear up, and that's my kryptonite. I don't do the rear up thing.
So now, Michelle, I'm curious as you're starting the course and you say you're just a little bit into it. So girl, you just touching the top piece of the iceberg. There's so much more waiting for you. Does it make you look back at the way we've always done things? Do you see through new eyes? Do you see horse behavior now, how so much of it can be prevented and
Oh,
improved without all the stress, the anxiety, the hard work, the elbow grease, the grit, the hustle, the drugs, the tie downs, the draw bits, uh, martingales. Do you look at the industry now with different eyes?
absolutely. Well, if you remember in the January challenge, I wear that buckle every day because I cried and cried my eyes out because I think, I did all this stuff to this horse, and everybody's like, "Oh, is she in pain or this or that?" That's what I do for a living. I mean, I work on Olympic level horses. So, I mean, I took her to every vet under the sun. I tried everything possible with this horse. And
Hmm.
do you know why I never sold her? Because she would have went to the kill pen somewhere.
Yeah.
And because she's so difficult, but she's so incredibly talented. I mean, so incredibly talented. If I can just figure out, like, for me to feel confident, and that's coming through the attunement already. And I haven't gotten very far into it. I'm
So,
sorry. You said Ty at,
ty at stallhigh.com. And my last question for you before we move on, I want to talk to Carolee DeWitt also. Because when I first started learning how to ride in attunement, I felt a little odd. I'm not used to moving that way. And if I didn't have complete faith in what Michael and Leanna are teaching, I would have thought this is too flaky. Like it can't possibly be all of that. Did you feel did you feel out of sorts? Did you feel a little foreign in the beginning when you were trying to learn the forward figure eights and attunement?
well, this is kind of not fair because I rode dressage 3-day eventing for 25 years
Ah,
and rode under Sally Swift, and she taught the forward figure eight
okay.
years and years ago. And so I had just gotten away from it and forgot about it and didn't know. I don't know. I just had forgotten about it until the
Yeah.
attunement. So it took a little bit of time for me to get back, to get that fluid motion going again and
Yes.
not have to like think about every step. So, but it is a little awkward if you've not done it before, because I've been trying to
Yes.
teach my daughter because she broke her pelvis a couple
Oh.
years ago riding bucking
Mhm.
horses, and because she was a saddle bronc rider and
Mhm.
had one fall on her. So I've been trying to teach her because her pelvis is so goofed up
Mhm.
from breaking it. And so even she's like, "Mom, this is so weird. I don't get it." So I mean, it takes, you have to be willing to spend the time and feel awkward,
Yes.
and who cares what we feel like, as
Who
long as
cares?
I'm
As long
getting
as
the results I am. Because I wanted to
yes.
say, I sent that video to Ty, but when
Okay.
I backed my mare a couple weeks ago, I haven't been able to rope for 2 weeks because it's been horrible here.
Mhm.
But I backed her into the box 2 weeks ago, and I'd only done like 3 days of attunement work on her.
Mhm.
And the guys I rope with go, "How much ace did you give her tonight?" And I said, "None." And they were like, "Nuh-uh." And I'm like, "No, I didn't give her any."
I love it. So this is it. So this is another prime example, guys. Learning how to move differently, regulate our own emotions, support our horse's central nervous system, them regulating theirs. You can continue to do it the hard way if you want to, but why on earth would you? The first time I went to a pro rodeo, because in the beginning I thought, I might, like, I don't, I'm going to feel a little weird riding like this in front of everybody. By the time I entered my first rodeo, I was so freaking proud of my attunement. My hips were moving. I do look different on a horse now. But you know what? My horses travel calmer than ever. And I don't like riding three-toed idiots. Like, I have prided myself on cow pony horses that convert into barrel horses that I can ride on a loose rein up the alley, like very, very fingerprint touch on the rein, the whole run. That's been my whole life. I've worked my whole life to be a very light-handed, conscious rider. Leanna said something when we first started this program, and I was like, what does she mean by that? Just because you have light hands doesn't mean you're a light rider. She was not referring to our body weight. She meant, how heavy do we land? Are we balanced? Do we move with our horse's stride, or are we just chopping that stride up and then saying, well, my horse is choppy, or she or he is short strided? Is it really the horse, or was it the way you were taught to ride? Or is it the saddle you're in? These are the questions that we are asking, and we're finding answers that nobody else has been able to provide in the history of barrel racing, to our knowledge. So, Michelle, thank you for being here. I also want to point out that you came in just last month. Was it when you joined Attunement 101?
Yes.
Yes, and you came in on the DIY. So we made a special offer. I'm going to make it right now. If you want to join, if you're watching and you're like, man, I really want to do this, but I really need to watch my account, we need to watch my numbers. Michelle, you came in on a DIY level when we offered it half off. So you have not had the benefit of coming to live coaching. You are simply following the digital clinics at your own convenience. And I think it's very amazing that you're getting results like this. That tells me that you're processing the information really quick. So I'm super proud of you. If
I
y'all
do,
want, yes,
I do think the best way is to do the coaching. I just, at this time in my life with this, moving and rebuilding my
yeah,
business and whatnot, it was not even possible. And if people can do with the live coaching, I totally recommend that, because I mean, I have struggles sometimes, but um, the DIY was what
mhm,
I could do at the time, and um, it's been amazing. And then I'm sort of a little spoiled because Shelly's my really good friend, and I've been able to ride in her bullseye saddle.
yes,
So that's helping my forward figure
good.
eights as well.
Good. We didn't talk about that this week. We're going to do a special workshop called Battle of the Saddle coming up soon. So you'll watch your email for that. And Michelle, I mean, I would love to get you in a bullseye. So let's stay in touch. Thanks for sharing your story tonight. If anybody wants to take the DIY route, it is on sale today. The special ends at midnight. You will get half off. So check the screen. Ty has given you information there. Carol Lee, are you here with us? Carol Lee DeWitt?
She is. I just sent her a message
Hi,
to
Wait. Hey,
there she
can
is.
you hear me? Can you hear
yeah.
me? Ah, I'm
Hi.
here. Hi.
Well, hello. All right. So let's talk about like an update. How are you doing and how's your horse?
My horse is doing really well. I haven't been able to keep up with it like I should be. But that's just, life gets in the way sometimes. But he's doing really good. I do want to share with you an episode that we had, and
Okay.
I've had horses all my life, but I've never had a horse actually walk up to me and put his head over my shoulder and talk to me. It
Oh,
was it was amazing. I mean, he's just this low nicker, and he's like hanging on me. It was unbelievable. And we had been doing some of the tapping and stuff. And I had gone over and worked on another horse. And when I got ready to go, I was fixing his trough and stuff. And he walked up and he did this. And it gets emotional.
yes.
And he's he's doing great. And I'm still hanging in there. Uh, we're going to try and get into some barrel races this spring.
Excellent.
So we'll keep plugging along and keep working with him. And I want to
So,
thank you guys for everything. It's been awesome. But
so he is he's just a big old handsome gelding. He's
yes,
not he's not shy, he's not standoffish, but
no,
he wasn't in your pocket, that kind of horse. So what was his
no,
personality before you started the attunement program?
it was a job. It was his
Really?
job, and that's what he did. It was for him. It was business, and it took a while to get him to to come around and be more people friendly. But it took a while, but it's really paid off. What For a while, he'd been through some injuries and stuff with some other people, and
Hmm.
he actually wouldn't let anybody near him. He'd had a lot of series of shots and stuff like that, and so
Hmm.
I really couldn't hardly catch him. It took two of us usually to catch him, but
Whoa.
yeah, he's a real sweetheart now, and I think he's angry with me because I haven't been doing much with him outside the corral. He's but he's loaded personality. We really love him. He's a sweetheart.
So I'm going to toss it to Leanna real quick. Leanna, we're hearing this a lot, that horses soften. They go from being hard to catch to very curious and happy to see us. And I don't care how long you've been riding horses,
Right.
or how hardened you
Yeah.
are. I've never met a horseman that didn't appreciate that. A horse that's easy to catch and happy to
Mhm.
see you. And not happy because you're shaking a feed bucket, happy because you understand attunement. What's going on with them? Why are we starting to see a true change in their behavior?
Well, so again, it goes back to communication happens nervous system to nervous system, right brain to right brain. And we live in a very left brain shifted world, analysis, linear. It's about time. It's about, the words are just thoughts. Right brain doesn't have access to that kind of information. The right brain is about the felt sense. The right brain is about images. The right brain has the direct connection into our body and to our nervous system. And the more aware we become, which means I've developed my senses to a heightened level, the more aware we become, the more we are able to perceive and the more we're able to receive. And so the horse finally goes, they're listening. So let me communicate. Because it's a horse just kind of like us. How many of us in life, if we know, there's those people in our lives that we know are just not going to listen to us. So we go, what's the point?
Yeah.
I'm just going to say the bare minimum and move on. So that's how our horses can be, not because we don't love them, but because they go, dang, your nervous system. I don't think you're going to be able to perceive or receive what I'm about to send you. So I just won't.
Yeah.
I'll just keep it right here. Right. And so it can create that sense of disconnection, even though all the love is there. But again, if our nervous systems aren't in that state of rest and digest, and we call it ventral, and we'll learn more about that through classes,
Hmm.
then our capacity to again receive, perceive information is hindered.
So I think it's really interesting. I myself was missing out and I didn't know it because like I'm now riding my own mare that's sensitive and she's a Dash of Fame and a Cat's Marauda bred horse. She's broke. I would go so far as to say she's dirty broke. She came from a working ranch. She's been roped on. She was started as a rope horse before I got her. But I'd never thought I would be able to trust that mare to do some of the stuff I do with her and for her to trust me, like riding her in a rope halter, bareback, um, bareback in some pretty sketchy situations into new areas where before I learned how to ride an attunement, I had to watch that mare. There's no way I would have ridden her without a lanyard bit and a curb chain. Now I can go where I want to go. And there's a new level of trust there. So I'm enjoying it. Carolee, what has this done for you to learn how to move your body differently? Do you feel any different physically or emotionally?
Uh, yeah, some days I do a lot of walking because I do a lot of irrigating and stuff out here. And
Mhm.
so if I'm walking a distance, then I try to work on the figure eight and stuff. And it does free you up. It makes your day better. It makes, I don't know, it will lift your spirits when you start loosening your body up
Yeah.
and getting some flow going. But
So good.
yeah, it's oh, and I wanted to tell you, I don't know if you remember, but I bought me a new pair of boots. I don't
You
know if
did,
you
because the
remember.
last time you were here, we talked about the boots on your feet. Yes. What'd you
Yes,
get?
ma'am. Uh, shoot, I can't remember what they are. Uh, they're Ariats, but they got the
Yeah.
square toe like yours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah. That was
tag
one of the
me.
first things I did. I
All
told
right.
my husband, I said, when I got back, I said, I've got to get a new pair of boots. I need boots. And he
Yes.
said, okay, we'll go shop for boots as long as you don't look at the
Yes.
price. And I said, oh, okay.
Attaboy. I like that man.
Oh, I did. Oh, he's awesome. He's so supportive. He really is. He just wants me to hurry up and run, but other than that, he's very
You're getting
supportive.
there. You're getting there. So tag me in your new boots.
I will. I will.
I want to
Okay.
see a picture. And I think, did you put on my boots and feel the difference?
Yes,
How did
ma'am.
that day
I
go?
sure did.
And what
Oh,
happened?
it was so fun. It was, that was, it was very, like out. That whole weekend was just amazing to meet everybody in person and to have the help. And watching Michael work with my horse was very
Yeah.
emotional. It
Yes.
was just, it really hit me. That did.
Yeah.
And then going over the barrel pattern with you, there's so much that you go over. I've been like a lot of other ladies who have been to several clinics, but I never had the one-on-one training that we had that day. It
Mhm.
was that was me, and I thank you for that, and I appreciate that.
Well, you're very
So,
welcome. And you and I didn't talk about this beforehand, but you're giving me a perfect segue to talk about something called Rider Reset Lab. For those of you who are in the program and you want a chance, you haven't been able to come ride with us here at the ranch, we're going to do a special Rider Reset Lab next Friday, which is the 28th. We will extend the hours on it. So it will be open to 10 riders instead of 5, but it is limited to only 10. It is first come, first serve. And if you enter before the deadline on Wednesday, so Wednesday night, you will save $500 on that. Carolee, how far did you drive to get here?
oh, came from northeastern Arizona. It took us 2 days, and
Wow.
oh, it was worth it. I'd do it again in a heartbeat if I didn't have certain situations going on right now. But if it comes around again,
Okay.
I want to go back. It was totally worth it. So
Well,
It was
I
it
I
was
have new
great.
boots for I have new boots for you to try on this time because those I didn't know at the
Okay.
time because I wasn't working with our muscle activation coach yet. I didn't realize how much my old worn boots. I told y'all about those on Monday. Look at this.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
my boots are still in working condition, duh. But every time I put them on, it reset my body to default, which is not what I want. This is what was interfering with my horse's stride. So see how the top is crooked? And I know I'm not
Uh,
holding them even, but when you put them on level ground, the first clue, if y'all check the bottom of your boots where the wear marks are and look at the top of your boots, if they're starting to do this or this, that's
We
not
can't, we can't
I
you
see
can
lost
you.
see.
we lost your picture, Kendra.
They lost my picture, Ty. They
Yeah.
lost me.
Yeah, if they're on a phone, we're having a hard time, Kendra, and Ty and I've been trying to
Okay.
Okay.
work on that with Ashley. So, Ty, you
So
want to jump in real quick and tell them what to do?
yeah, look at the top of your screen, guys. There's gonna be a little bitty word that says view. Click on it and the drop down will say follow host video order. And then you'll be able to see the boots.
We
Is that
don't
the right?
have we don't have view on our phone screens because I'm on both.
Mine just says Zoom.
Yeah, mine just says Zoom too.
I can't hear you, Ty. Click the three dots at the bottom of your screen that says more
Yes.
and
More and more. I don't know.
show participants. If it says show participant video, click off of it if you're on your phone and it'll be on the little three dots at the bottom of your screen that says more. Click off of show participant video. Then you can see the screen. Y'all try that real quick and I'll show you my boots again. I show y'all.
I don't see it.
Still don't see it. Do y'all see me?
Mm-mm. No.
No,
You're
no, that's the
black
problem,
screen.
Kendra.
See
You're
you.
black. The black screen
I,
is on a
If I
phone.
go under participants, I can see you in your
yes.
little square.
Ty, can you switch her phone to the one that has the word screening? That's what we can see on the little squares. Can you swap it where that is the one that's main?
Or spotlight me. Okay, here's my phone. Hold
There you are. We see you now.
on. Hold on, y'all. Ty says we're gonna get y'all a visual. Okay. All
Can
right.
see you now.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Look.
can see.
Okay. Look at these. Now that Ty's here, we can see him on the floor. Okay. You see how
Can you
the left. We're gonna go
angle
down
it
here. Let me see
down?
that
We
real
can't
quick.
see all the way down because of the tickler.
Oh, sorry.
Katie, now you're
Now we're
putting
good.
it to the wrong phone. We're looking at you from the other device behind you.
Now I'm back on this one. Y'all hang on.
Yes.
He's gonna switch me around. All right. Do y'all see those? Y'all see
Yes.
that?
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
You see how much this one leans to the left?
Yes.
So my heels, my arches, my tendon guard reflex, not firing correctly. That caused an offset going all the way up. Imagine my legs going up to my hip and my pelvis. Remember, I
Wow.
mentioned my goofy side was on the left. What barrel cost me the most money and kept me out of getting to the national finals?
Yeah, your
This
left
one,
turn.
the left one. There's so much power. There's so many clues in our boots, guys, if you'll go look for them and then get to the bottom of it, do some soul searching, literally soul searching. And Leanna, I'm just forever grateful that y'all care enough to teach us these things. So, Carolee, congratulations on your new boots and thanks for just
Thank
being
you.
willing to be here and share your story. It's a delight to have you in the program. You've got such a sweet spirit, and I'm really proud of you and happy for your horse's shift in
Thank you.
personality. You got a great horse.
Yeah. Yes, I love him. Thank you so
Uh,
much, you guys. I
you're
appreciate every one of you.
you're welcome. We love you, girl. Renette, I'm curious. We'll make time for you if you made it. Is Renette Taylor here? If not, we're gonna
I
keep
think
rolling. We're gonna
she
wrap this
was
up.
here earlier. We lost her.
Okay, we missed her. All right. Renette came to the same in-person clinic. It was so awesome to see her ride. Again, another very experienced barrel racer coming in and learning how to ride an attunement. And I use her as an example, like watch her elbows, watch the posture of her arms, and her horse just go from like revved up muscle horse, real fast mare to without having to be sedated, without having to ride the hair off of them, break a sweat, get there an hour early. Y'all know the drill. Y'all know the routine. We're bringing something brand new. Leanna, close us out. We've talked about Rider Reset Lab. It's always impressive to see you work in person when you lay hands on people. And people from the spiritual realm, like from church, we've heard laying hands on people associated to faith and belief. This is different. It may not be all that different at all, but when you do that, you're seeking for disconnects in the central nervous system. And you kind of come into, how would I say this? Get our central nervous system firing again. What happens when you have a chance to actually work with us in person and adjust our central nervous system?
So that's a that's a beautiful way of kind of describing the process. But we have haptic perception in our hands, and that means that our hands have the capacity to touch all parts of our body. And when also too, Carl Jung would say the hands will work what the mind cannot. That's why earlier in life when I was a play therapist, the hands and getting the hands to move for children were so important because the hands will work what the mind cannot. And so when you learn the process of unwinding, we basically take those self-protective postures and through touch, we allow the fascia to melt so that the guardedness can melt and you can unwind into your fullest authentic way of being amongst your all three of your midlines. So I often say that hope is so important here, and anyone who came to this clinic this week, I think we are all looking for hope. Hope that my horse, I can do better by my horse. Hope that I can be all that I know I want to be. And we learned that there's nothing that we're missing. It's what we haven't had access to.
Mm-hmm.
And when you understand the nervous system and how deeply connected that is our information system, how deeply connected and rooted it is into our movement patterns, our movement maps, our body schema, you become empowered. And then we have hope. And then we have a body that can inhabit, that hope can inhabit. And when that happens, we can be with what is today and the journey that we're about to go on. It makes
Yes.
it brighter, more
Ah,
joyful, more
yes.
at ease, right?
Yes.
And again, there are postures of hope. And so that is what unlocking the hips allows us to begin to move into those postures of hope, into those postures of authenticity and connection. And Tally just said it, to this present in the moment.
Yes.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I will never forget the day when Michael Richardson called me up. I've told this story before. If you haven't heard it, you got to hear it. He's watching me ride in the arena and he has this big, deep, amazing voice. And he goes, Kendra, good job. You ride beautifully. And I'm like, I know. That's what I'm thinking. And then he goes, laterally. What? What did you mean by that, Michael Richardson? I have always been very confident and very relaxed on a horse. I can get a horse to calm down. I did not understand attunement. I didn't know jack about their central nervous system. I knew a little bit about their emotional or their mental health. I did not understand their central nervous system and the synovial pump that pumps the cerebral spinal fluid up and down their spine. So Y'all think about that. Even if you are handy and you've been very successful and you have made a living in the saddle, are you riding laterally like I was? Do you even know what that means? If you don't, you better get your hindquarters in this program because there is money to be made. There are like horses to be saved. There are new arena records to be set. This is what's happening. I know like this is a small, intimate, amazing little group tonight, but people are starting to find out. People are starting to see the difference of y'all going out there and your horses are changing. What are you doing? What did you give that horse? Did you get a new horse? Where have you been, girl? I haven't seen you in a month. I haven't seen you in 6 months. Oh my God. Was that you? What'd you do? Stall high. Lead coaches, stride coaches. We're doing things different. We're studying the science of speed. You're going to have cheerleaders here. That's your fellow riders. They're here to support you. And you're going to have the coaching team. So, not just cheerleaders blowing smoke up your wranglers. All right. A coaching team, a new way of riding, a new way of getting results. Again, for those of you who want to sign up early, you will save $500 if you want to come to the next Rider Reset Lab happening next Friday. We are located 1 hour north of Dallas, Texas. You will get to work with Leanna in person. You will get a chance to work with me on the barrel pattern. You will get a chance to work with Sherry McKenzie, our lead integrator, who's taking over the new data class. So she's going to take our biometric device, put it on your horse, and show you exactly how balanced you are or where you can improve. It is fascinating. It saves so much time. It's like a quantum leap ahead. And then you also get to meet our muscle activation coach who will look at you and help assess your muscle groups. Are you like me? Do you have some muscle groups that were a little sleepy, a little delayed? They weren't firing fast enough. I didn't know. I didn't understand that this was a sign. My boot was trying to tell me if I'd understood sooner, I could have started working on this years ago. But I didn't even know it existed. I didn't even know this was a thing. So our muscle activation coach will assess you and also give you assignments to start bringing those muscle groups awake to the party, activating them, and then identifying which muscle groups are overfiring. Have you ever been accused of over jockeying your horse? Man, those knee jerk, I didn't mean to do that. If I hadn't pulled so hard, I wouldn't have lost so much time at that barrel. It just means that your central nervous system is a little dysregulated. You've got some muscle groups that are compensating and trying to do the work of the ones that aren't firing. Let's get everything freed up. So there's a link right here. Save 500. It is first come, first serve. It is only limited to 10. We are at 7 o'clock. We're going to land this plane. Leanna, you are absolutely amazing. You keep leading, girl, and we're going to follow your
Well,
boot steps. What
it
you
takes
say, we'll do.
it takes a community, and we're all learning from each other, and that's how knowledge grows and it deepens. And so it takes every single one of us, and you, myself, and Michael, and we stand on the shoulders of giants. So we are here to impart to you guys all the mentors that have poured into us so that we can pour into you and make you guys leaders. So it's a beautiful, but you only can do that through community, by the way. That's why one clinics, the one and dones. The reason why we have such struggles with that learning model is because we learn in community and through our mirror neuron system over time. So again, welcome to the community. It's a game changer and a life changer. So thank you guys.
Mic drop. I love y'all.